What is a TV show you got really far into but eventually quit watching before its conclusion? Walking Dead, for sure. It never went anywhere. I wanted a conclusion, a solution, something new that wasn't killing and fighting other people. I wanted smart solutions, but they never arrived. My favorite bit was when they went to the place that was safe, but it turned out it wasn't safe and all the zombies came along and that. What about the bit where they discover some other survivors who turn out to be hostile? I was shitting on the show for a couple seasons, but the sunk cost fallacy kept me watching. Until the moment Rick finally had Negan in his sights, dead to rights. And again is like this time, you better be telling the truth, Negan. Not like the other 25 times where you weren't telling the truth. But this time by God you better be. So I won't shoot you even though I could and should, because surely this time you're going to honor your word. I was like, fuck this goddamn terrible show, I just can't waste my time anymore. Orange is the New Black and The Walking Dead. Grey's Anatomy. How much trauma can a group of doctors go through? Sheesh. Once Upon a Time. Can't even remember where I got to. Arrow, got tired of the main character flip-flopping from season to season. Felt he was hypocritical when he killed people in the first season and then hunted down people doing the same thing he did in the next only for him to go back to kill people in the following season. Once Upon a Time I just stopped caring, because it felt like none of the characters were actually developing and would just regress season to season. Edit. For clarity, I believe I finished season 5 before I couldn't be bothered to continue. Somewhere around House of Cards. Well before the spacey shit, but that was definitely the nail in the not finishing this coffin. The show was a lot more interesting when he and Claire were conniving their way to the presidency. When they succeed, it just turns into this half-baked international politicking thing, and I hated that they drove a wedge between Frank and Claire. Their sick relationship was the show for me. Suits. I really liked it to begin with. Soundtrack was a cracker. But it just turned into a soap opera, too much focus on the Rachel Mike thing. Shameless. I watched most of it and liked it, but don't recall finishing it. I got 18 seasons into Grey's Anatomy before I got irredeemably bored. That's probably the biggest sunk cost here. Edit. Made it halfway through season 18. Didn't keep watching after the second half resumed. Pretty Little Liars, that shit got too confusing for 16-year-old me. The Blacklist was great until they ran out of ideas and just kept recycling the same plot over and over. The little guy from the DMV becoming a major player was the sign the end was near. Riverdale. I think it's still on. I got really into it and then just dropped it like a hot rock right about when Sweet Pea came along. Also, I was so convinced that Sweet Pea would introduce Popeye eventually and that Pop's Diner was some kind of portal and it would all be revealed they were in a comic book. I think I might have had too high expectations. That 70s Show. I hated Randy and the show was just not the same without Eric and Kelso. Dexter. Started off incredible then just tapered out, getting worse every season. Supernatural. Lol. I fell off after the Darkness arc. Just couldn't do it anymore, even the nostalgia factor wore off. Lol.